Hi, everybody. Forgive me if I sound like I have very low energy, but I am losing my steam and I'm ready for bed. I want to discuss HTGM though, because I've gotten a few messages about people that unfortunately got bagged on this stock today. And what I mean by the term bagged, if you're not familiar, is that unfortunately, they chased it when it was already up significantly, bought in higher than it closed the day at, probably somewhere around the top, because I'd imagine if they bought somewhere around where it is right now, they would have sold when it was higher. But I don't know, because I think that one of the common things in the stock market that a lot of traders face is they're able to buy stocks, but they struggle with selling them. So let's talk about HTGM and where it stands and where I think it could go. Please keep in mind that tomorrow is CPI. So depending on the results of CPI, anything could change any stock's direction. It is going to be very interesting tomorrow, and I expect a lot of volatility in the market. And also, please remember that nothing I say is financial advice. Always do your own DD. And guys, if I could give you a bit of advice to learn from this, if you're one of the people that got bagged on this play, if you find a stock that's running and it's already up 40, 50, 60, 70, 100% on a day, it's probably not the time to buy that stock. And by no means am I trying to lecture you. I'm trying to help you into not making the mistake in the future. Now, if a stock is running like that and you expect a continuation because you see that the volume continues to be increasing and it's getting pullbacks, which I understand in this stock, it was halted quite a bit of times today to the upside and to the downside. And very quickly. In fact, it seemed to me like it was consolidating a lot of the day until it finally sold back down. And it is, believe it or not, at a level of support right now. That $1.05 goes back to August 1st. So it did actually find a level of support, and hopefully we can see a recovery. But let's take a look. All right. So if you were buying this stock up here at market open, it was probably too late, guys, because as you can see, it already ran up in pre-market. It did run a little bit higher. If you were able to sell the top, great. Now, something I want you to keep in mind, when it hit the high of day, which I believe was somewhere around 195, 196 off the top of my head, but you'll notice it double topped. When you see this double top, that is a huge indicator that the stock failed to break through and is likely going to fall more. That would be a good sell signal going forward. So when you start to see that in a stock, please bear that in mind. That will help you from being bagged. And that's exactly what happened. It pulled back. Now here, if I'm looking just at this horrible Robinhood chart, just because, guys, they're very good for pictures to upload without a lot of noise in them. But it almost looked like it was trying to form an inverse head and shoulders. But then what did it do? It dipped back down. All right, my next thought day trading this would be, maybe it comes down and forms a W, pulls back up, retest that 195. But look, that didn't happen. It didn't even get up to the neck of that W again. It just continued to consolidate. Then I would be looking at this small pattern. Oh God, and my pointer doesn't work, so you're probably thinking, what am I talking about here? But then I see a small, almost like a bull flag, and boom, it breaks out and it goes back up again. Now, guys, it looks like from this chart, it almost got to that 195, but not quite, right? So it didn't even get up to the high a day where it started to pull back again and then consolidated some. And then you got this massive sell-off towards the end of the day, right? Followed by a move back higher and a close at $1.05 on the day. It looks like it is up a few cents in after hours, so it must have closed around 101 because it was up 4 cents. Now, you'll notice that even being at 105, it was still up 87.83% on the day. That is huge, okay? It needs to cool off, and this is normal in a stock. You need to understand that stocks do not go straight up. I know there's been some crazy volatility lately. And I think it's giving people false hope again, because stocks don't run, that are, trading below $1, $5 in a day. That's not normal. Can it? Yes. But guys, that is squeeze action that's happening, and it can't be sustained. It needs to pull back. Right now, that 105, like I said, is sitting at August 1st closing price. So perfect. It found its consolidation, and hopefully tomorrow it will break out for you again. It's definitely going to break one way or the other, but I'm hoping for all of you that have reported that you're holding a bag that it breaks to the upside, and it looks like it's possible. So I wouldn't doubt it. Anyways, in the past year, you'll see it's down 74.33%. So there's a lot of room in the stock to run. And in the past 5 years, it's down $27.75 or 96.35%. Guys, it's just disgusting, but that's the way a lot of these stocks, especially these biotech tickers, are right now. Now, if you look at the analysts that rank it, there's only 2 analysts that have rated it, and both of it give it a buy. One gives it a $1 price target, and one gives it a $2. So if it gets back up to that $2, it's reached that high of what analysts' expectations are. Now, that's not to be said that they can't reevaluate this stock, guys, and rank it. Now, here's another positive for those of you stuck. It's giving off a strong bullish signal. Technically, it's showing that short term it's going to make a move to the upside. Medium and long term, it is still showing a downward trend. And guys, that is normal and to be expected. Now, you can notice here, it's hard to see, but if you look at these green dots, there is a gap. If this falls, you may see it fall back down into that 60-cent range. There is support somewhere around 97, 86, 70, and then back into the 60s, guys. So it does have spots to catch itself on its way back down, but keep in mind it did gap up. Also, there is not a whole lot of institutional ownership, which is to be expected in a stock at this price. There's only 4.29% institutional owners, but there's 15% corporate and 5.38% insiders. So, it's nice to see that insider ownership, and it's nice to see that there's corporate investing in this company too. As far as the bulk majority, it is others, which would be retail. Let's see. All right. The 52-week low is 19 cents. The 52-week high is $5.68. And guys, the average volume is only 3.18 million. And that's up significantly today. If you were to look at this yesterday, you would have seen 197,000. And look at what traded today. 146.44 million shares. Now, ask yourself something. There's only a free float of 8.81 million shares. How is it that this stock traded the entire float almost 18 times over? How on earth can a stock do that, guys? The entire float got traded 18 times over today for a 1,325.22% turnover. I'm sorry, but you know what comes to mind when I see this? 100% naked shorts. And there's something that I want you to think about. These market makers are going to do everything in their power because they added all these shares that didn't exist on this movement today, okay? I can almost 99.99% guarantee it, okay? They use their liquidity to create naked shorts. What do they do to try to get shares when naked shorts exist? Well, guys, they try to drive the price down to get you to sell because they need your shares. That's what's going on here. It's very obvious as I look at this. Why did this stock run today? Well, that's because they got results from their myeloma drug candidate, HPN 217, that is currently in a phase 1 clinical trial. And it showed that the clinical activity was tolerated and that it was safe. So excellent. That's huge news for a biotech company, guys. Now, right now, it is currently number 3 on the population list. So there's a lot of things in your favor if you're bag holding this. But look at this. The reported short interest is 0.38%. Guys, I assure you it's over 100%. It's probably more like 1,800 and something percent, whatever that percentage of turnover said it was. Because there's no way the short interest after today is 0.38% when 18 times the float traded. It screams naked short like no tomorrow. And another good news, there are currently 0 shares left for them to borrow. Well, how did they create all those shares that shouldn't have existed, guys? Because they didn't let the price drive itself up naturally like it should have. Because guess what? It probably would have squeezed to oblivion. So mark this on your calendars as another squeeze that they stole. Because that's exactly what it looks like happened. 38.13% is the cost to borrow should shares suddenly come into play. But look at this, guys. Even that number is significantly less than what it's been for the past week. Do you not see how all of this is a bunch of BS and they do what they want whenever they want to do it? It's disgusting, but this is the reality, guys. Welcome to an education of how the stock market screws you, because this is what they're doing. FTDs do not come into place. Well, guess what, guys? As of today, they suddenly do, and you're going to start to see a big spike in those FTDs, especially if the volume continues in the stock. If the volume continues to flood into the stock, let me assure you, and it continues to flood in, they will be so beyond screwed, especially if people are diamond-handed and they hold and they do not sell. Because guess what? At the end of the day, come a couple weeks down the road, whether it's a couple weeks or T plus 30, T plus 90, however you want to look at this, eventually they're going to have to pay the piper, and they don't have those shares. So guess what? If a bunch of people got together and they were all diamond-handed on this little tiny float stock that only has 8.81 million shares, and they decided to hold and just keep buying, then you could probably, rest assured, guarantee yourself that it's probably going to try to have a massive, and I mean massive, short squeeze. Now, that would take a lot for this to happen, but guys, it's a possibility here. Keep it on your radar. That's all I'm saying. If you're not invested, be prepared. They're going to try to short the crap out of this because they're screwed. And what do? They screw you by trying to steal your shares instead of, getting you to sell it for a reasonable price. This is what they do. They drive it down. Rest assured, they are playing games right now. They did the same thing with SMMT today. There's no shares left of that stock either, guys. There's a lot of stocks right now that they've backed themselves into a corner with. But unfortunately, learn from MMTLP. They can do whatever the frick they want when they want to do it. And I'm just being honest with you. So don't get too greedy here.